Alrighty. Ooh, this is way over here. Incredible evening, everyone. Hopefully, my lights don't act crazy and I can get through this. I'm only going to do one part of this because I have a class at 7 o'clock. So I'll come back um, right before I go watch the game um, and actually press the shirts. Um, so right now I'm going to focus on just the silhouette part of it. And I was going to do all of it. I had my heat press on. I turned it off because I realized I have class in about 30 minutes and I won't be able to get through it all as far as explaining the breakdown of it, cutting it, and all that kind of good jazz. So we're just going to focus on the silhouette and the machine cutting part. I'm going to show you guys how I set up, like for this one, it's 3 different colors of HTV that I'm using, and I'm actually going to cut all of them at one time. And I use scraps for this part instead of like cutting it off. I just use the scraps and then I set my design page up a certain way. So I'm going to show you guys how I did that so that I can just cut all of it at one time and then weed them that way. I'm not like, I mean, I could pull down, I have multiple machines. I could pull more than one of them down and then be able to cut like different ones at different times, like on different ones. But I like doing it this way. It's a lot easier for me. And that way I don't have to worry about loading and unloading a mat, even though I'll normally just take a bunch of mats and just put the vinyl on it. And once one is done, I just throw the next one in. But this way works as well, provided that everything works okay. All right. So that's what we are going to do today or right now. If this is something that you're interested in, stick around. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you're watching over on YouTube, don't forget to check, the subscribe button and make sure that it is grayed out. It is no longer red. And that means that you are subscribed. And then go and hit that bell. Turn your notifications to all so that way you're notified whenever I release new content. If you're watching over on Facebook, thank you so very much for watching over there. Make sure that you turn your notifications to see first. All right. I think I did my introduction, but I'm not sure. So let me just go ahead and do that. Like I said, I only have a limited amount of time to get this done. I am Shakia, the professor of HS Inc. 365. We are the parent company of Silhouettes Anonymous. That is my platform that I have been teaching you guys Silhouette Studio and about the Cameo for the past 7 years. We are also the home of the Honestly Speaking product line, which currently carries Submation ink, Submation paper, pigment ink, and some other things. And we have other entities under there like HS Ink Digital and HS Ink Prints and all that kind of good jazz. And lastly, 365 Creative Academy, which is my academy to teach you all things creative, and I help you unlock your creativity in a wide variety of ways. So that's a little bit about me. If this is your first time here, do leave a comment and let me know. Make sure that you guys share this content out. I know a lot of my content has been like sublimation and stuff like that. So we're taking it back old school. We're going to do a regular HTV shirt and 3 colors. All right. And be sure to have notifications on so you'll get notified when I actually go to the press and press it. So you'll see how to do that with like the 3-second tag and like how to just minimize the shrinkage and all of that. So I'll do a full breakdown of that later on. All right. But as you come in, drop a hey, how you doing? Let me know who is here and who is watching. It takes like 2 seconds just to type in hi or just send a waving emoji and let me know who is watching. All right. So like I said, going to jump right into this. I'm going to share my screen and we are going to head on over to Silhouette Studio. All right. Oh, also, this live broadcast is brought to you by the letters HSINK, the number 365 and 0. Like those are signature letters and numbers for our amazing product line. Check out the website. All of our ink is 140 milliliter bottles. They are keyed for EcoTank, so you can use them with EcoTank printers, but also the workforce printers. If you want to learn more about Silhouette Studio and designing in it and learning all the tools and functions, YouTube can be great. But a lot of the times people are more so teaching it from, okay, hey, this is how we're going to do this project. And if you don't know where the tools are, what they do, you can be lost and you'll, it'll be that, allegedly they're going too fast, but it might just be that you don't understand the program. So if you're wanting to kind of scale up your skills in Silhouette Studio, this is the only course that you will ever need as far as basic knowledge of Silhouette Studio. It's my Essentials of Silhouette Studio. It's 8365. It is 30 days, 32 sessions of amazing content. And yes, my ring light is going to start to act stupid again. Alrighty then. I have no idea what's going on with my ring light and why it occasionally does this foolishness. Alrighty. Well, I'm going to take my camera off because we're going to go to Silhouette Studio and break this all down. All right. So the way that I have this set up, all the colors are here, and I have a box that's set up on here so that I know how large to make my how large to cut my vinyl. So that's the part that is very, like, it's key in this, is making sure that your vinyl is cut down to the size of that box so that everything lines up. So this box right here, I'm just going to color it in. Okay. So that one right there is 12 by 10. So I made sure that my vinyl was cut exactly to 12 by 10 so that it fits there. And then the next one butts up. So it's not really guesstimating where it goes. All right. And also with this, which I need to move this down just a little bit, it's going to be it's very important to not have your vinyl or like your design right on the edge, because if it happens to shift a little bit, your colors can end up in the wrong spots, or basically like with this one, if you have splits in it, you'll end up with a straight line going through your design. So you don't want that. So all of these here, I'm just going to fill them in because you can see, are set up. And so like I said, my vinyl is cut to 12 by 2.5 so that I know that it fits in here. Okay. And we're going to, I'm going to fill these with color because it's going to make it so much easier to select these, to turn them all. Actually, I'm going to select them all and I'm going to group them together, and I'll just make them all one color. All right. That's going to make it a lot easier in the next section, and I'm going to send it to the back. It doesn't even matter like the color being on there because Silhouette Studio is color blind. It's colorblind. It's not going to know that those colors are like that is back there. So I'm going to go over to send. I'm going to come back and explain why I have an offset around and all that kind of good jazz. But I do want to get this started cutting, and then I'll go through the design and breaking it all down for you guys. All right. So we're going to go over to send. And because I grouped that together, I'm able to click on just like any part of it. So whether it's at the top, the middle, the bottom. So I'm going to click on that background and I'm going to set it to no cut. Now that doesn't cut. It's only there as an indicator of where to put my vinyl. Everything else is set to cut. I don't want to do cut edge. I want it to cut everything because I want the offset too. That is what we call a weed border, and it's going to make it a little bit easier for me to weed this out, especially since there are so many small, intricate pieces. All right. Now we're going to, okay, you're saying ready, but you're not showing me a tool. Why is that? Okay, there we go. I'm going to adjust my blade. The one thing with Silhouette Studio, yes, they have presets. No, I don't ever use the presets. I don't even really care what it says for material. I've been using it so long, and I've come to find that like the settings are not ideal. What they tested these settings on may not be the vinyl that I am using. So I rather kind of do my testing and know what is going to be the best setting. And this just comes with practice, some messed up cuts, some really great cuts, taking notes, knowing if your blade is new, if your blade is fairly old, what's the condition of your mat, if you're cutting with no mat, what's the condition of your cutting strip. All these things play a part in how it actually cuts. Okay. So I'm going to ignore material. Of course, it's on auto because it picks up the fact that it's a ratchet blade in there. I'm going to leave my blade at 3, which means I'm going to also have to manually adjust my blade because it's at 6 right now from the cardstock that I was cutting last night. So I'm going to put that at a 3. For my force, for vinyl, you really don't need a lot of force. That blade might need to be changed, but I just don't really feel like changing it. Normally, I would do about like a 10 or 11. I use a Cricut mat, which is a thicker mat. So I have to give it a little bit more force to make sure that it's actually kind of putting force on like that cutting strip, and it's going to give it the right amount of pressure, like downward pressure, to be able to cut. So silhouette mats are thinner. I use a Cricut mat. It's thicker. Another reason why I ignore their settings, because I don't use a silhouette mat. So I normally do like 10, 11, only because I think that my blade is a little bit dull, or might need to be changed. I'm going to go to a 12. You don't want to go too high. If you go too high on force and or like your blade depth, you're going to cut too deep, and you're not going to have a proper kiss cut, and that's going to affect how you weed it, because it's digging into the carrier sheet. It's not going to weed as well. So you want to really know your system, know your machine, know your blade for these settings, especially when when you have smaller elements. Okay, so I'm going to go. I normally would do 2, but again, I'm going up like 1 tick on everything, because I'm not sure about the blade. All right. And so for my speed, 4 is pretty good. It's not too intricate to where I have to go down to a 3. I personally never go below a 2, never use a 1. As far as like speed, it just drags too much. So I'm going to keep it around like a 4. And after that, it's all set, ready to go. Um, Only because I just noticed, I mean, the 6 is a little thin for me. I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to make this 6 just a little bit thicker. Ungroup, release compound path, hold down shift, click, click, make everything else a compound path, make this a compound path, and go to my offset, and 0.0125. Okay, that works for me. Apply, hold down shift, click on my 6, and weld it together. All right, that works for me. So I have to do the same thing to the one over here. So we're going to ungroup, release compound path, hold down shift, click and click, make everything else a compound path. I'm using my keyboard shortcuts as I do that. We're going to make this one a compound path. Oh, this time I right click, and then offset 0.0125, apply, hold down shift, click on the 6, and weld that together. All right, so that's done. Everything else we're golden on. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and send this to cut. We're going to switch over to the other camera. All right, because we're going to load this bad boy up. You want to make sure that you give yourself enough space. This is pretty much going to go the full 24-inch length. So I normally put my mat here and make sure that it's not going to like hit the wall or anything, because that will mess up your cut. So basically where the cut is, you want to just kind of make sure that it's going to clear it, especially if you're on a flat surface like this. I'm going to pull it forward just a little bit because I'm a little scared that it might hit. Oh my God, this light is getting on my nerves. Hold on. It's going to be a little dark in here. I'm sorry. I don't know why my ring light is acting cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs again, but yeah. I forgot to grab my squeegee to make sure that everything was down, but we should be good. If you feel like it might lift, use some tape. Be on the safe side. All right. So I'm going to load this in. When loading a mat, you want to make sure that your roller is all the way to the last one. Don't use it here, because you will have voids in your cut by having it here. This line is if you're going to cut with no mat, okay? This is if you're going to cut with no mat. So you want to have it all the way at the end. No matter which version you have, 1, 2, 3, or 4, when cutting with the mat, it should be at the end. Your mat is going to be lined up with the back of that line, whether it's colored or not, it's the back of that line. not on the tip of the arrows. So I'm going to go ahead and put that right there and hit my load button. And then I need to adjust my blade because this is a ratchet blade. Right now is set to 6. I'm actually going to make sure that it's clean also because I've been doing a lot of cutting. Ooh, man, it is kind of gunky in there. Yeah, it looks like there's some adhesive on this blade too. Where my blades are, I really don't feel like digging down there. So I'm going to pray that this works because it's actually trapped in a drawer that's kind of like blocked right now. So we're going to put it in this slot where the 6 is on the arrow. So it'll fit right in there. And then we're going to turn it. I'm going to put it on the 3 and put it back in. Make sure it's locked in place. Good practice is to put your thumb on top of your blade. Take your finger here and put it underneath your locking mechanism. No matter which machine you have, all of them have a locking mechanism. So you're going to go like on top. That way you make sure that your blade is all the way down and then lock it into place. And we're going to send it. All right. We're going to come back over to here, go to send, and I'm afraid it's going to cut too deep. I'm going to go to 11 and we're going to go send. And I mirrored it here so it doesn't ask me cut as is because I have it on cardstock. You only get that warning if it's like on an HTV setting, and I mirrored mine in the program, so I'm ready to go. When it comes to HTV, if you don't know, you have to mirror it because you're cutting to the adhesive side, and so when you flip it over, it will be ready to go ahead and press. All right. If you guys have any questions for me, now would be a great time to ask because all that's going to do is just cut. So now would be a great time to ask if you have any questions. And we're going to go over not how I made the design because we're actually going through that in my master's class tonight. I had to do this one and a design for a full all over one that I didn't do it myself. I didn't do the process of printing it and pressing it. I outsourced that to another business here in South Florida because I just didn't want to deal with it. And it's perfectly fine to do that. I designed it. It's still my customer, but I outsourced it to make life easier for myself and to also support another business. All right. So with this one, right, let's kind of take a look at, we see all these little marks in here. Normally, I don't like to do this, which some people call it the knockout method or removing the bulk. I normally try to avoid this at all costs. I like to layer right on top of things. But with a design like this, I have no choice but to do it unless I'm going to have a double layer of Howard Howard in gray as well. So it's right on top of it. But this, if you're not very careful with the temperature of your heat press, how much pressure you're using, vinyl shrinks. So and there's no guaranteed rate at which it shrinks at. So you can have it where like on one shirt, the gaps are in one spot, on another. Some people say, okay, well, do an offset. Again, you can't control how it will shrink. So you just want to do quick tacks and try and minimize it as much as the shrinkage of it, and not going too hot and not pressing for too long and not having too much pressure. That is how you avoid those gaps. Again, you guys will get to see that later on once I actually press it to the shirt. All right. So with this part, you have to cut it out. So I'm going to show you, I have one that's set up and then one that's not. And I put an offset around it because of the little intricate pieces. So when I weed this, I'll weed where the offset is first. Once the design is clear, it's all cut out. Then I remove the rest of the negative and I don't have to worry about it lifting anything. just wanted to make sure that that one was cutting. As long as that one's in the right spot, the rest of them should cut a-okay. All right, so let's see which one is it. Okay, it's this one. We're going to bring this over here. I always make duplicates. Okay. All right. So the design stuff is already set up. You're going to take the front and the back. So in this case, it is, hold on. What you touching? What you touching? Nah, Kilo Sabi. All right, good. We're still within the white. Everything is a-okay. All right, cool beans. I had to check it real quick. All right, y'all awfully quiet. Talk to me. Let me know who's here. I am showing between both platforms, I am showing 44 people on right now. But I only see a few people checked in and said, hey, so let's not be rude, people. Let's come in and speak and say, hey, how y'all doing? Or as Wendy would say, how you doing? All right. So normally people will say like subtract and make a copy, but there are two different types of subtract under the modify panel. You have subtract, you have subtract all. What subtract all does is it removes wherever there is overlap, but both elements remain in place. Oh, I just realized I cut this so wrong. Oh, I'm so mad at myself. All right, so I'm going to set this up how it's supposed to be set up because right now it is definitely set up hella wrong, but it's okay. I wanted it to actually look like his feet were coming between the I and the T. So I'm going to ungroup here. Oh, because I forgot to subtract and then I grouped it together because I was saving this one to do the video and I screwed up, but it's okay. So I'm going to take my T and my I and I'm going to send those to the back because I wanted him to look like his feet were coming through the I and the T. If you guys don't know, Howard University made history because they are the first school to get a brand deal with Jordan and Jumpman. All right. So I want to cut this out of University first. So I'm going to click on the Jumpman, hold down shift, click on the T and the I, and I'm going to hit subtract all. It's going to look like nothing has changed, but that put a opening in the T. All right. Now for Howard, we're going to group. I'm going to just click on all of that. I'm going to click on University as well. Since the T and the I have been cut away, I can group them together and it's going to keep that same look. And that's what I actually forgot to do last time. So we're going to go ahead and group that together. I like keyboard shortcuts. So I use Control G, Command G on a Mac. All right, why'd they go back up to the gray? All right, and so that's grouped together. We're going to hold down shift, click on the line and then click on the Jumpman. And again, we're going to go subtract all. It's going to look like nothing changed. But once you click, you'll see all of those little cutouts are there. All right. And then the rest of it, we don't have to do anything with it. Although my 6, only because I did the last one, I'm going to just do this again in case you're just joining. I need to increase the thickness of the 6. I just didn't like how thin it was right in here. So we're going to release compound path. I'm going to change the color so you can see this. It's going to release everything. And easy way to do it so I don't have to click off and do all of that. I'm just going to hold down shift, deselect the 6. Everything else is selected and make those a compound path. And then the 6, make that a compound path. Do my offset. And now it's a little bit thicker. We're going to select both. And I don't have to delete the other one. Just select them both and weld it. And then I can take them all together and make them a compound path again if I want it, or just group them together. In this case, it doesn't really matter kind of which way you do it. We do have class, but remember there's a 10-minute grace period. We have class. That's what I'm trying to help and get this done. We will start at 7:10. Actually, let me go ahead and open up the room. But I'm just waiting for this to finish cutting. I'm going to weed it and I'm going to actually press it, like I said, afterwards. Now, when it comes to sizing, there is technically no right or wrong. I'm putting this on a 2X shirt and a 1X shirt, but I made them the exact same size rather than try and, go through and figure out, okay, there's like, as you can see, there's 3 different colors and the way that I have it set up. If I made them different sizes, I'm going to have to try and figure out, okay, layer this one on top, see if this one, oh, wait, what happened here? Hold on. Not now. 1 second. Meetings and start. Okay. So I would have to go in and layer them and see which one, because I mean, it's not that much of a difference where, people tell you the numbers from an extra large to a 2X. So I would have to do all that. Nope. I size it pretty much for the 2X with a little bit of like wiggle room in there, and like a little bit in between what I would do for a 2X and a regular XL. So that's not so big on the XL. So this one was pretty much done, I think, at like 10. I think the final one is actually like at 10 and a half instead of like 11. All right, so you would make sure that you select everything together and size it. Right now, the continuing to make history has a really long piece right here. So all you do is right click and convert to path. That way everything is now a path and you can make sure that everything is lined up. So you want to select everything and then go ahead and resize it to the size that you need. I don't really kind of pull it to an exact. I went like a roundabout. So like it was like maybe a little over, a little under 10.5. So once I have that set, I always make a duplicate. I never separate my original. So we're just going to, since this one is done like this, I'm going to group it together, move it out of the way. But what the heck is cut? Oh, the blue piece is cutting. I was like, what the heck is cutting? So I never, ever, ever disassemble my original one. Okay. I never stopped the master classes. We have master classes every other Friday. Okay, so we're going to click on here and we're going to separate it. Okay. The Jumpman and this go together. So technically I can save on vinyl and I can move this right in here. But guess what? I then have to cut it. Then I have to figure out where it goes. This is one of the things that I'm going to teach in my t-shirt academy is you have to choose which one is better for you, saving on material or saving on time. And if you're pricing correctly, this little bit of space in between here is not going to mean anything. You don't have to, that's like pointless to kind of save. It's like pennies to try and save that little piece right there. So I'm not going to even, now this part I did move only because at first I was going to put it on a different piece of vinyl until I found the other blue and I didn't have enough. So I had to put that together. But technically, any other time I would have left these exactly where they are because then it will make it easier to line it up. But for now, hey, we're just going to, like, they're cut really, really close to each other. So we're going to take the Jumpman, and here, it doesn't even matter that they're different colors. I know that they're supposed to be the same color vinyl. So I'm just going to group those together, move that off to the side. And then this one, we're going to go ahead and group it. All right. So then we're going to select these. I select everything all at one time and just put an offsetter on it. This is my weed border and we're almost done. Actually, I got 5 minutes before I'm supposed to start class. So hopefully this finished cutting, and hopefully it already cut the words. It's just cutting the line now. So we're going to go to offset, and I'm going to put a fairly small offset on it. Again, it's just a weed border. I don't really have to have everything. Again, it's just a weed border. So we're just going to hit apply. And that's going to be it for that. Everything where it looks like it's overlapping is going to become one. We're going to take this and group it together. We're going to take all of this, group it together, and then all of this and group it together. I'm going to copy and 12 by 24. So I'm using a Cameo. I'm using a 12 by 24 inch mat that allows me to do 12 by 24. And then we're going to paste this over here. All right. I'm going to take my Jumpman and then duplicate him and then rotate him. These are other little things that, kind of help when it comes to dealing with vinyl. Like I don't mind cutting through here and it saves me. Now, when I priced this out, it was based off of a certain price, but this is a way to kind of sneak in extra profits because I base it based off of the amount of vinyl that it's going to use. So technically when this is priced, it is priced based off of it going like this and pretty much kind of like taking up the full 12, right? But now that, when I'm actually cutting it, I'm actually able to save on space. So I'm not really using as much vinyl. Yeah, it's a couple pennies, but that adds up over time. So we're just going to put this like this. Once I kind of have it where, all right, you like spit out of there, have it where I want. I'm going to put my box around it and look and see what the measurement is here. It is 8.994. So I don't want it to be right on the edge. So that means I went to 10. So I went the next one up. So I'm going to put a box. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to make that width 12 by 10. Oops, not 22. Width 12 by 10. And then we're going to place it right here at the top. Now there is a way to make sure that it's like right there, but I'm short on time, so I'm not gonna like go on that. We're just gonna kind of eyeball it. And then we're gonna move this down. So then the Howard University part we put here. And I don't want it too close to the edge. I'm going to duplicate it below. And then these two together, 8.492. So I'm just going to take this top one and duplicate it below. Boom. That is my piece for that. And I was actually glad I did do it because like with this, I would only be able to fit one set on here. So we're going to ungroup. We're going to, I'm going to have to release compound path on my, what's this thing called? Okay, so we're going to ungroup and we're going to select here, group that together, select here, group that together, and push this up, select it. I'm going to move it down some. So then I just need to know how big this is for the vinyl. So we're going to duplicate it below, grab from the middle node and come up. So it's just like a roundabout. So I knew that I needed to make my vinyl 4 inches. So, and that's kind of how I set that up. One thing that I forgot to do is on my offsets. So let's go back to, do I still have the design here? Let's go paste. Okay. Dang it. All right, one of the things that I forgot to do was remove all the extra pieces. So I'm going to ungroup this. We're going to move. Oh, come on, ungroup. All right, we're going to move. Okay. So when I did the offset, the one thing that I forgot to do was remove the inner pieces so that when it cuts, I don't have to do double work. So we're going to go here and I'm going to zoom back in. We're going to select it all, like same like we did before. I'm going to go to offset, same like we did before. I'm going to make it 0.0125, same as I did before. No, this one was default. Actually, supposed to be no zero. It's supposed to be 0.125. My bad. All right, so 0.125, it's the default for this one. Sometimes I have to go larger and apply. Now, there are inner pieces. I don't want to have to double weed my O. It's really just for the edges. So what I do, I'm just putting the color so you guys can see it. So look at like where the O is, the A, the R, the D. It's a couple like little pieces. That is really only here. So I'm going to release compound path. And then I'm going to weld it. And all that does is it eliminates the middle pieces so that I only have to weed out one piece. I really don't need the intricate parts for inside the letters. It's just more so around it. So that's really kind of like important for that. And then we'll go back in and group it and then do what's there. All right. So let me let them in real quick. Please stay muted, guys. I'm going to let you in, but please stay muted. And let's take off the waiting room. And I'm going to weed part of this really quickly for you guys, just so you can see how those weed borders work. And I'm going to hop off of here. I'm so upset that my color just looks a hot mess.com because of the ring light. And I always check before I take it off the mat, just in case something is a little bit off. So I always pull a little piece and check and make sure that it's weeding right, just in case I have to send it back to cut. So we're good. We're going to unload. So now with this, I'm able to weed around it. If you guys that are in class, if you haven't looked in the on your dashboard, like in the course, there is a download for tonight. So if you're going to follow along, go ahead and download that file. It's actually what I'm working on right here. I'm going to share with you guys some things as far as like setting it up and how this SVG was set up. And then we're also going to do go over how I did the design for the all over shirt. So there is a file for you guys to download. So if you're going to follow along tonight, go into the program, your dashboard, and download the file. It should be there. All right. So once you're able to go around it, now I can confidently remove the negative, because like the rest of the negative, and it's not going to touch it at all. I can just snatch that off. If I had my heat press on, I would actually put a little heat under it. All right, so I'm going to do the one up here, because this was really why I needed the weed borders, because there were so many small parts where the letters were cut out of Jordan. And I can literally just pull this and not have to worry about, and this is really great for adhesive vinyl, so that you don't have like a lot of sticky vinyl and have to worry about it falling on itself. So this is really great for adhesive vinyl also. So all of those little pieces stayed intact. So I'm just checking it, making sure. And then we're going to weed out here. All right. I'm going to try and hairpin weed this one. Please stay muted. Please stay muted. Please stay muted. Please stay muted. I'm not in masters just quite yet. All right. So I just want to show me weeding this. I'm not going to weed all of the white. I'll leave those and weed them once I actually put it on the shirt. But I just want you guys to see now, like, I can just rip this to shreds and take it off because it's not touching my design at all. All right. And last but not least, I'm just going to do a look, like just do part of this because this had really small letters. Like the ends of it were really thin. So we go like this. And we are able to pull that up. You see how small those are? We're able to just pull that off and not have to worry about a lot of tension from a big piece of vinyl. And if I didn't do the release compound pack and weld inside these letters, I would have two pieces that I would have to weed out. And it will cause it to take longer to cut because it would have to cut those in pieces. Although this one wouldn't have had any anyway, but because I mean the offset was bigger than what the middle of this is. So, and it's not like it's a bad thing. I do it as a precaution. So I'm going to go ahead and weed. Oh, wait, it's not going to do it anyway. I mean, I could weed this part first and then go back in and weed it. Either way works. Uh-oh. And, oh, it took out the middle of the A for me. Haha. Oh, come on. But I just wanted to weed it so you can see that nothing overlapped, nothing was on the line, none of the cuts messed up because I measured the boxes and I made my vinyl the exact sizes of those boxes. So if I pull away, actually it did cut off the bottom one. Oh, that sucks. I didn't have enough room on it. Oh, I got to cut off. I did. So, haha, this one, oh, it was slanted. It's okay here, but then it went down. Okay, so I must have done something or the machine shifted because these words here are fine, but this isn't. So I'll just cut that part again. That's no biggie. And then I'm going to go back in here and remove that. Okay, so there's that one. I just have to cut this one again. I don't know why it got cut off because I mean this is 24 inches. So not sure what happened with that, but yeah. Everything else is good. Now, because I'm not going to cut this until I'm going to press this, I'm going to take a little piece of parchment paper because it's non-stick and put it in between the layers. So parchment paper is great for everything, sublimation and HTV. And because I didn't cut all the whites out, I'm just going to lay these face down on there. And then my other white one, where did it go? Oh, I'm stepping on it. Dang it. And this is why. All right, I didn't even know it fell off the table. It's a good thing this isn't going on a white shirt because there'll be dirt on it. But I can try and lint brush some of that off. And I will eat the others after class. All right. So thank you guys so very much for watching. Hopefully you learned a little something. If you did, let me know what was new for you, what was helpful for you in this video. And let me switch over to here. All right. And I'm going to look at my skin looks crazy because I don't have a ring light on. All right, y'all. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity. Any questions that are there, I'll come back and I'll answer them in the comment section. All right. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.